That's what happens. Okay, so there we go. I am recording now. We got 10 people in here, at least starting out. Looks like 90 people have clicked the link since I posted this, so that's pretty good. Switch over to my camera. Okay, everybody, so we just want to introduce everybody or welcome everybody to the session and introduce myself. I am not Loophole Travel, and I do exist. So for you guys who don't know me, I don't know, so we've only got 10 people in here. I'm sure that number will go up as the post gets a little bit of popularity, but I've been on Reddit, I don't know, like daily for the last year and a half or so. I've modded it for, I think, about 4 or 5 months. And since then, I just, typically just post on there. It's how I spend my free time. Churning is like, I don't know, a little bit more than a hobby. It's like an obsession for me. I love it. My fiance supports me because she gets to travel. So who doesn't like to travel? So if you are watching, hello, Danielle. So anyways, the way that this works, the way that Blab is set up and the way everything is supposed to kick off is everything that I'm doing, I think, is flipped. So I think all the users' chat is over here, if I'm correct. And then over here, I have like a question and answers pod. And what you if you're in the chat and you just want to ask me a question, what you do is you type /Q. And you can kind of press, I think there's a little button there, a little slash mark. If you press that, it kind of shows you some of the commands that you can do. If you type /Q, that prompts a question, and I can see that question on my panel over here. I don't know if you guys have that panel as well, you might. So when people ask questions, the questions populate, I'm able to answer them. And then I can, when I click on the question, it actually brings up a whole nother box somewhere over this area right beside me. And then I'm able to, everybody's able to see what question I'm answering when I answer the question. So I think it's a really neat thing. The second part of this that you really need to be aware of is that if you like what I'm saying, or if you like the way the conversation is going, if there's, I might have maybe 3 people in here with me. That's if anybody has the balls to jump on the camera or audio. You don't have to have a camera. If you just want to do audio, you can do that. You click that call in button over here, or call now, something like that. And when you log in, if you like what the person is saying, you click on the picture. So if somebody can click on my picture right now, the webcam picture here. Just click on it. See, there we go. So anytime, if you liked what somebody is saying, you can click on the picture. It kind of gives them like a little applause down here in the corner. So you can kind of see the way the conversation is going. It kind of helps the host know if what they're saying is like kind of on the right track or on the wrong track. I mean, you can also just type it on the chat. So imagine if you had like a bunch of people in here to get kind of confusing, but I mean, that's basically how this works. It's really neat. I can actually lock this seat if I don't want anybody to jump in with me, or I can unlock it if I, want people to jump in. So we'll go ahead and might as well get started on something. I gotta remember how to switch I think it's topic. What should be the first thing I should talk about? I have the things that kind of want to talk about was at least the 524 rule coming up. The Marriott, Starwood, and a gang deal going on. That's kind of interesting news. And then maybe some Citi with the loophole. I just applied for my, I think it was 5th. I've been saying it's been my 6th, but I believe it's my 5th card. Now that I'm like counting all my cards, I believe it is my 5th. So I have to check into that just to see. But yeah, I just applied for it. I got approved again. I did not get the 50K language in the welcome letter, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. But then I was just talking to Jesse, aka Loophole. I was talking to him, and he assured me that his family as well did not get the 50K letter, but they ended up getting the tracking bonus tracker. And then when I actually, in addition to that, when I logged into or when I applied for the card originally through the pre-qualified offers, I read through all the terms and conditions, and there was no 18-month language in there. So I have hopes. I don't know if it's going to be worth like fighting the good fight and, like calling them out over it if I don't get it, just because I've already had like 4 or 5 of them. So I, feel like it might be a losing argument, but I didn't see the 18-month language. So, and it'd be interesting to see. So, okay, that's good. You didn't see it either. So, I hope that's what happens for me. We'll find out here. I mean, I'd love to get another 50,000. Who wouldn't? That's like one of the best deals in all of Churning. So, welcome to David and Russell. Thanks for joining up. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of want to talk about, like I said, the Chase loophole going on, or the Citi loophole, Chase, and then Marriott. Those are the three things I kind of want to talk about. So we'll start off with the Chase deal. Let me change the topic here. I'll show you my my input on Chase and why I feel like why I feel like this is really interesting. If you think about it, is there anybody, I don't know if there's anybody who's actually active in the chat right now over here. I gotta keep remembering, everything's so backwards. Is there anything that, is there anybody who's newer who hasn't really applied for many cards? Or is everybody who's in here kind of like me and they have 20 cards in the last 18 months? I'm gonna go with the silence, maybe, that most people have been here and doing this for a little while. Yeah, that's what I imagined. But I want to at least talk about the way I look at this 524 rule and the reason why I think it's pretty big. And if anybody wants to jump in with me, feel free to click the call now button beside me. You guys, like I said, if we have 2 or 3 hosts in here talking, it makes the conversation go a lot easier. If you don't want to, you can just use your mic. I believe somehow or other, you don't have to actually use the webcam. You can just use the mic and just talk with me. That's cool too. Anyways, what I want to talk about the Chase 524 rules, because here's the importance of this. So for people like us who have been doing this for a little bit of time now, when I hear about the Chase 524 rules, I'm like, shit, it's pretty much over with Chase. There's no more, I'm not going to get any more applications through with them, business, personal, it's all done. So it changed my strategy to where I closed out of a lot of cards that didn't give me that anniversary bonus. And then I left my cards open. That did, like the IHG, the Hyatt, those kind of cards. I think that's, kind of makes sense for most people, I'm sure. And I believe there was even some discussion about that. That's what most people are going to do. Because you're not going to be able to get those new approvals, so you might as well apply for something that at least gives you an anniversary bonus. And if you have 2 people, like me and my fiance, we both have the Hyatt card. So every time our anniversary bonus comes around, it's not too bad because I can, we're still getting 2 free nights, although it's not any place. It's only whatever category 4, but still 2 free nights is better than nothing. So I'll take that. What's really interesting about it is that for new people, I feel like if you look at all the rules that have taken place and have stopped churning, so we look at the Chase 524 rule, and we look at Citi's 18-month language, and we look at American Express's once-in-a-lifetime bonus, and Barclay card really doesn't give a shit. So they're still wide open, which is great. But if we look at these 4 banks and what they're doing to prevent churning, it's all geared toward people who repeatedly sign up for cards. It's not geared toward people who apply for a bunch of cards, with the exception of Chase. Chase is the only bank who is limiting you on how many cards you're signing up for. Citi 18-month language, doesn't matter if you have 100 applications in the past 3 months, they'll still approve you. Barclay, once in a lifetime, or Barclay, has no rules whatsoever, really. I mean, you can only get the same card every 6 months or so. And then we jump into American Express once in a lifetime. Again, they don't really care how many cards you've had. So Chase is the only one. So for new people getting into this, and how my conversation is going to be, kind of pushing toward these what card Wednesdays posts and everything else, is that if you're new getting into this, your first 5 cards have to be Chase, which that's a game changer now, because typically in the past it's been kind of like the Wild West. So when I first got into this, I don't know, a couple years ago, I just applied for 5 random cards pretty much. I mean, I kind of not random. I knew what I was going to get, like the CSP and the US Airways card and those kind of cards. I knew what I was going to get. But now with the 524 rule, you have to get 5 Chase cards, and you have to get 5 Chase cards that you want to keep year after year after year. Because once you start applying for other cards, Chase is going to be off the radar for you. So for those kind of people, for newer people getting into this, we pretty much have to recommend like the IHG. You have to recommend the Hyatt, probably the CSP, which I know, yeah, here I am touting the CSP. I'll sign up using my referral bonus and I get $250. The CSP, and then, I don't know, a couple other ones. It's kind of tough. I don't really know. I guess it depends on the person. And I don't know all the Chase cards, really. I'm trying to think. There's like the United card, the Freedom card. The Freedom, that's a tough one. The Freedom would be a tough one to recommend. If you're limited to 5 Chase cards, do you want the Freedom? You guys are free to type. Help me out here. If you're limiting to 5 Chase cards, would you guys want the Freedom? Would you want like the CSP, the Hyatt, the IHG? I'm trying to think what other 2 cards you would get if you were brand new to this and you needed to have something with an anniversary bonus, what it would be. It's a pretty tough question, but at least those 3 would be beneficial because you're going to get a nice sign-up bonus and you're going to get a retention, or you're going to get something that's going to, year after year after year, give you something in return. Say maybe the Freedom. Yeah, I mean, the Freedom with that 5 times, or at least maybe even the Freedom Unlimited. And yeah, and there's no annual fee. But honestly, here's the thing that I've noticed. So I know that like a lot of people talk about cards with no annual fees and why they're not too bad. But I apply for way too many cards. Okay, like I'm 29 years old now. The cards I had before I got into churning, so when I was like 20, I think I was 27 when I got into this. I've had since I was like 18. I've had like all my cards for 10 years. I didn't really apply for too many new ones. So I've had like a pretty good AAOA. And then since all this is started with me, my AAOA is like completely gone now. So I don't know like how important these non-annual fees, kind of play into it. Maybe in the long run, AAOA. Yeah, I actually said it twice and I didn't screw it up, so that was pretty sweet. I've applied for this card for too many cards. I'm down to like under a year now, maybe a year. So I don't know like how big the non-annual fee cards plays into it, but the Freedom is a good card just because of the 5-time rotating categories, and you don't have to manufacturer spend to get those. I mean, $1,500 in 3 months at like gas stations, not too bad if you have a family, or at least you have a couple people using that card. Amazon, that's easy. And then actually, with last year, because they were fighting Discover, they were giving you like 10 times points, which was awesome, because you have to figure everything that you're doing on Chase. So the Freedom card, if they're giving you 5%, that's like 10% back because it's UR points. They're not giving you cash. So I think that we have to, people don't really talk about that point enough either, is that, when a Freedom gives you 5% rotating categories, or like the Freedom Unlimited now doing 1.5% unlimited, that's not 1.5% unlimited. That's basically 3% unlimited, because you're talking about UR points. They're worth at least 2 cents. All right. I don't know anybody who doesn't say a UR point isn't worth at least 2 cents. And I'm not talking about like, the higher up redemption values. I'm talking just everyday usage and like an economy flight. Now, if I start talking first class and stuff, obviously a UR point is way, way more than that. So I think that's one thing that a lot of people, maybe new people, don't understand, is that, that the UR point, when I'm saying 1.5% for like a Freedom Unlimited, it's actually more like 3% or 3.5%. And then I want to say welcome to all the new people real quick. If you guys do not know, if you guys have any questions, any comments, anything you want me to discuss, on the chat on the bottom right, you just type /Q, and then you can type in your question. When you type that in, it pops up on my screen over here. I'm able to see the list of questions, and then I can answer them from there. And it helps me because I can't really focus on the chat, and I'm trying to like pay attention to Reddit a little bit because I did make that post. If you guys can jump on there and upvote that post, that'd be great. And then it helps keep everything a little bit organized. And then when you guys ask a question, I can click it like this. Oh, it's over here. Click it like that, and then everybody can see, what's going on. So I can see Kurt asked me the question of he saw some conflicting reports saying that the 524 in March is for the Ink Plus and All Chase business cards. Any news? No. And, I heard the same thing. I heard that March and I've heard April, and I haven't heard anything else since that either. I think the original post, whoever at least brought up the 524 rule, which I don't know if it was Doctor of Credit, but I know that he has confirmed that, that, April is when it started. I think it was him that actually made the original post too. But no, I haven't heard anything new. Of course, I'm not like a lot of these like really sweet bloggers. Okay, I'm just like the normal guy who wants to talk to people about his redemptions and, kind of what I do. I don't have all these inside connections with banks like I think Dan Steele's and Doctor of Credit. He's got some good connections, and usually got some insiders in the industry who can kind of help them out with that kind of stuff. I don't, so I just kind of go off what I see on Reddit and Flyer Talk, and I don't really even post too much on Flyer Talk. I'm like Reddit all the way. So I don't have any other extra news on that. And I haven't seen any data points, which is actually a good point, is that if you see, yeah, no, it really is. It's a pain to read those on Flyer Talk. If you are denied for a business card at all, we should post those data points, maybe even outside of the data point. I don't know. They have a mega thread. But this is kind of big news, so I don't think they'd have a problem with it, especially if somebody said I applied for the United Business Card and was denied due to a 524 rule. So hopefully we can get some data points on that. I'm still looking. Jags 18 days ago. That was on 2/27, denied for the chasing because he had too many inquiries. I was also denied for the chasing because I had too many inquiries, but I was also an idiot and called him. I was like, these, all these people on Reddit, they don't know what they're talking about. I'll easily talk to them and sweet talk them into it because I can talk forever. Like if I'm talking credit cards, I'll talk for life. And it didn't work like that. so they shut me down pretty hard. They did the, the review on my account, and she wasn't going to budge. It was kind of like I just applied for the Chase Fairmont card. And when I got the Fairmont card, I was like, I've already had 5 Chase accounts, but I was like, I might as well apply for the United card, I think it was, because I had a mail-in letter for that. So I used the targeted offer, signed in, went through the whole process, and was sent to pending. I was like, I'll try to give him a call. And the woman, the CSR I was speaking with, she instantly knew exactly what I was doing. So she goes, I see you have, I think it was 17 new accounts in the last 16 months. How do you justify all those accounts? I'm like, shit. Like, how do I justify those accounts? So, I apply for cards. Like if I go out to like Lowe's or something like that, and they're giving me 15%, I decided why not take those cards. So I take a lot of those cards, and I've stayed at a couple different hotel chains, and it's like I figure I might as well get the card for them to maximize my points, and why not? And then she came back and was like, no, it's not going to happen. So I kind of figured it wasn't, but I wasn't out anything. Like I said, I've already pulled my credit, so why not try it? But now I got denied on that one. And I mean, that was pretty much it with Chase anyways. I knew I was going to be done with them, so wasn't really out anything. So that's kind of where we're at with the business card end of it. I don't know. I haven't heard too much just yet. Still waiting to hear, exactly what's going to happen. I haven't seen too many posts saying people have been denied. So if it does start in March, it hasn't started yet. I wouldn't imagine, because I think those posts just start coming in, not too much longer. Hello to MK. I'm guessing it's actually, is it the MK? If you're there, you have to type. You have to say hello to everybody. If it's the MK. I mean, I have to assume so. And then, hey, hello, New to Cali. Thanks for helping me out on the dry run last week. That was, or even earlier this week. It's a lot of help, so really appreciate it. Remember, guys, if you guys have any questions, or if you want me to talk about certain topics, type /Q in the chat and go ahead and type in your question. They'll populate for me on the sidebar, and then I'm able to kind of discuss those points as the show goes on. And it helps me out a lot because it gives me something to talk about instead of me just rambling it's kind of like a two-way interaction. I need you guys to help me out, and then I can help you guys out. See how it works. So type /Q, type in your question or your whatever topic you want to talk about, whatever it is. And then it kind of populates for me. If you like what I'm saying, if you like the way the conversation is going, you can click on my picture. It gives me like little hands, and then I can kind of see that, you know, people like that discussion or whatever. So those are basically the only thing you really need to know. Or you can just, you know, chat in the sidebar there. So yeah, like I said earlier, the biggest thing with the Chase 524 rule is I don't think it affects people, you know, have been doing this for a long time as much as it affects new people. And that's the craziest thing to say, because obviously if you're doing this for a while, you have to assume that, you know, it affects you directly. But the new people, it really changes everything that they do, because we're still going to have a lot of new people that are going to jump in. They're going to go ahead and talk about, hey, I just signed up. I just got in this churning thing. I applied for, you know, the SPG card because it was $35,000. I applied for the Citi American Airlines because I want to get into the loophole. Things like that. That is like the worst thing that new people can do once this 524 rule takes place, because they have their first 5 cards in churning have to be chase cards. And if you're going to be a help to these new people on what card Wednesdays and whatever else, we have to remember that moving forward. You know, even if it's just your even if it's just going to be your buddies, your friends, whoever you're trying to talk to, everything has to be geared toward your first 5 cards have to be chase. And if that means that, yeah, you can't apply for 5 cards in the first month, and you have to apply for when you're first getting your miles started, you have to apply for 5 chase cards, and that takes you a year to do. You know, that's just too bad. The game has changed. It's an ever-changing environment. So just because, you know, before, you're getting into churning, sign up for these 5 cards and apply for one every month after that. With the chase 5 card rule, that really changes everything for a new person. It's still very lucrative, but these people can't go out and apply for 5 random cards and then expect to maximize everything they're doing. They're going to have to jump in, apply for 5 chase cards, maybe one every other month for the first year. You know, and we were trying to discuss a little bit earlier. We had a few less people in here. Is, you know, which 5 chase cards would people recommend? I don't know. I mean, there's the Hyatt because you get the yearly night, the IHG because you get the yearly night, the Sapphire just because it's a good card to have with UR points. The Ink might be tough for new people. I don't know. It might not be. Maybe that's one of the first cards to go after. So some of those ones are, you know, in the Southwest Companion Pass. That's a great one. Thanks, Panda, for recommending. I forgot all about that. So that's one of the best ones to go for. I can't believe that. You know, if you're starting right now in March and you're saying, hey, I kind of want to get into this churning thing, you know, my advice to you may be don't. Okay, spend a lot of time on this forum, understand what's going on. You know, get to learn your bank rules and your application rules, everything else, and then come November time, apply for the Southwest Companion Pass first, because it's probably the best perk in all of churning. So maybe don't apply for anything for 6 months or 7 months. Wait for that Southwest Companion Pass to come around and make that your first real redemption. Yeah, it sucks you have to wait, but you've gone how many years without doing this? And you want to make sure you get that Companion Pass. It's one of the best offers that there are, that there is. So, you know, that's the way I'm looking at it. And then MK posts tips for someone with low expenses, looking to dip my toe in the churning game without limiting myself in the long run across all the different programs. 524. That's kind of what I'm talking about here. If you have low expenses, you know, the Chase 524 rule does play a big factor in churning. And it's exactly what I said, is that now instead of applying for 5 cards right away, my recommendation is apply for 1 card every 3 months or 4 months, and they all have to be chase cards, because you want to maximize all of your first 5 cards with chase. If you don't have any applications in the past 2 years and you're getting into churning, your first 5 cards have to be with chase. You're never going to apply for them again. So why would you lose out on the IHG or the Hyatt or the Southwest Companion Pass or the Sapphire? So there's no reason to limit yourself. Your first 5 cards would have to be with chase. And if that means you can only apply for a card every other month, or you can't apply for anything until November because you want that companion pass first, that is how I'm going to take the approach of, when the 524 rule takes place, that's going to be my approach of helping people out. That's going to be my advice for people. I think, and then also, and then, like you're saying, if you have low expenses, that kind of helps those people out as well. And if you're talking like under $500, it's going to be tough to do anything without doing some form of manufactured spending, which I don't want this show to be about manufactured spending. That's a whole nother, we can kind of answer some questions. Maybe I'm sure we'll have some conversation on it week after week. But, so if you have the low expenses, you're talking under $500, that's a little bit tough. If you can, put a car payment or a house payment, even if you got to pay the fee. I know, like my car payment, I have Nissan, whatever I'm leasing my Altima, if it's $300 a month, I can pay it's something ridiculous, like $25 or $15 to pay my car payment, with my card, which it's 10%, which is absolutely ridiculous. But if I need to meet a minimum spend, it's still like pennies to the dollar. So it's not too bad. Yeah. Rent via money order is often overlooked. You can do that. And still, rent via money order it's not manufactured spending, but you still got to go the Visa gift card route, right? Because you can't just get a money order using a credit card. So there is a little bit of a process with that, but there's always ways to meet spend that you may not think, you can originally do. I want to welcome Tim to the broadcast. Hello. So yeah, we've actually got 27 people in here. It's a little bit more than I was expecting. Not too bad. I got some questions in here. I'm going to try to run through these real quick and see. If you have any questions, type /Q in the chat. You can go ahead and type in your question. It's 11:30 already. I've touched on one topic. So this is what I'm saying. I can talk about churning. I could talk about Chase 524 rule for another hour and be fine with that. A lot of people think this is going to be boring, and maybe it is boring. I don't know. I'm not sitting here listening to myself blab, but I know it's not boring for me. I could talk about each individual topic for 3 hours at a time. That's fine. Okay. And then welcome to Jeff as well. How about that? Got a couple more new people in here. Let's go ahead and switch over to the Citi loophole, because I feel like, yeah, right. Shout out for the West Coast folks. Woke up at 8 o'clock. I posted this on the original Reddit post. I don't know exactly how this is going to go yet. All I know is I like doing this. I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you guys are too. I don't know how, what the formula is going to be. It's really tough, especially because I wanted to do it on a weekend just because I have a lot of free time this weekend, which I normally don't. So I was like, I can do this weekend. But then I'm thinking people got stuff to do on the weekends. Right now it's 11:30 for East Coast. So it's a little bit tough for, I can't tell East Coast people, hey, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, drop everything that you're doing and come hang out with me. And, it's tough for the West Coast people because I can't be like, hey, wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and, listen to me talk. So there has to be it's a tough balance of everything. I think 11 o'clock was at least decent. And I have 26 people for my first bride, or now 25. Bastard, whoever just left. But I have enough people here where I feel good at least the first rotation. I think, once I get into this, and have a regularly set schedule, it'll be a little bit better. But I'm going to go ahead and change topic just because, like I said, we got to make some progress here. We're going to change topic too. And I think you guys can see the topic as well. It's over here. The Citi AAdvantage, the loophole going on with that. So we'll talk about the Citi AAdvantage loophole. We've got some loophole. I say it's called loophole, and I think everybody calls it the loophole. And then I have to call him Loophole Travel because you guys don't know him as Jesse. I just call him on first name basis because that's, on his blog, that's what he goes by. So I just call him Jesse. But Jesse, aka Loophole Travel, and I put together that survey originally, and then he took off with it, made the post, did all the data crunching, everything else. I actually made a full post about it on loopholetravel.com where he broke down a lot of those results. It's interesting to say the least. I haven't even crunched all the numbers yet. I mean, probably one of the great loopholes of all time in churning. Certainly one of the best for us, um, because like I said, I've applied for 5 of them. I'm on my I think I got number 6 here. I have to look through it again. I believe I've applied for 5. I just got approved for number 6, and I got the letter in. Did not include the 50K language in the letter. However, I've had a few people just in my chat over here, and I've had Loophole Travel as well let me know that his family was approved for the card. They did not get the 50K language in the letter, but they were ultimately they did get the bonus tracker, so, and the miles. So I'm still pretty, holding out confidence. And I applied for the pre-qualified link. So I went on there, went to the pre-qualified link. There it was, 50K miles, not 60, but 50. I, went through the application, was approved for, my number 6 card. And I went through the terms and conditions. There was no language in there. So I'm hoping I get that. Yeah, absolutely. If you don't, if everybody doesn't know, if you get the 50K language or if you get the 50K bonus, you can always just secure message them. They've been really nice about matching the 60K. So it's a free 10,000 miles or 20,000 miles. And it's like it's really funny because I know there are some people out there who are like, oh, it's just 10,000 miles. That's a one-way ticket anywhere in the country. Like, what are you talking about? It's just 10K miles. That's gigantic. That's awesome. Hello, Jeff. So yeah, no, that's a big deal. It's certainly, it's certainly worth the 5 seconds of your day to go ahead and message them. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't apply for my fiance just yet because I was kind of, I don't want to waste a hard pull. So I've applied for myself. I want to see if I get the bonus. If I do get the bonus, I'm going to apply for her as well. So we'll see how that rolls out and see how everything goes with that one. Says, can I open a Citi AA Gold checking account without the Citi AA card to get the bonus? Good question. I don't think you can. I don't believe you can because I think you have to have, no, wait, to get the bonus. You probably do have to, but I don't know because here's why I say I don't know. I applied for the Citi AA Gold checking account for whatever, the 50,000 miles. And because Citi, just because they are who they are, after I was approved, I printed out all my paperwork, which all stated the 50,000 mile, language in there, the promotion, went through, step by step, did everything exactly right, turned off ad blocker, the whole 9 yards, did everything exactly the way it was supposed to work. Even my terms and conditions, like I said, my terms and conditions stated the promo. So I was super confident, knew I was going to be able to get it. I called them up right after I submit the application, and I said, I forget exactly my conversation with them, something along the lines of, is everything, does everything go with my account? How long do I have to wait to get my debit card? And I want to make sure that the promotion of the, 50,000 miles is attached to my account. So she goes back, she's like, click, 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 and says, no, there is no promotion on your account. I was like, you've got to be shitting me. Like, I went through the entire application process, did everything 110% correct, and it's not on my account. So I had the promotion code, saved because I knew this was going to happen. So I have the promotion code saved, and then I, gave her the promotion code. She manually puts it into my account and said there's not going to be a problem. So long story short, I go through, because it's not attached to my account, the points don't post automatically. I have to wait out all 90 days. So the 90 days comes and goes after I meet all my stuff, which was, I think, March 1st, actually. I call them up, and they're like, okay, that I see that promotion wasn't on your account originally, but somebody typed it in on your account notes here. We are certainly going to honor that. Let us go ahead and, process this. You'll have your miles post in whatever, like 5 to 7 days. So I wait all 5 to 7 days. Then I get a letter from, or a secure message from Citi we attempted to put the miles into your account. However, we do not have your Citi or your American Airlines AAdvantage account. You don't have my AAdvantage account because you just gave me 5 freaking bonuses from the credit card, and if you combine me with my fiance, you've given us 9 bonuses in the last 5 freaking months with the credit card. You're telling me you don't have my AAdvantage account. That's what I wanted to tell him on the phone. Obviously I didn't. I took the right approach of, okay, well, that's fine. Here's my AAdvantage account. So I gave them my AAdvantage account. They deposited miles in there. So to answer the question, can you open a Citi Gold checking account without an American Airlines card? Maybe. You can't do it online. I know that. But can you do what I did? Apply for the account, go through all the steps and everything, and then call and say, hey, I just want to make sure this promo is on my account. If they say no, then you add it on there. I don't know. I mean, obviously they didn't even check my credit cards. They didn't check my credit cards for that. And they, they didn't even have my AAdvantage account. So I would say it's possible. I can't say 100%, but I'd say it's possible. The Citi news is going to be interesting. In the next, it's going to be interesting to follow. There we go. I was going to say, let's see where these loopholes go. I mean, they have to fix this, right? I feel like Citi is going to have this 18-month policy forever, and they're never going to change it. Not because they may not want to, but just because they can't. If I look at these loopholes that Citi has with the American Airlines accounts, the best loophole is clearly, or the best fix to all these problems is clearly Chase's policy. Chase's policy is like an iron wall of perfection. American Express, their whole once-in-a-lifetime thing, not bad. It's not a bad bonus, but it's tough because you're limiting somebody who may have signed up 20 years ago and they want your card again. So I don't feel like that's going to stick around. The 18-month policy, not bad, but still people can churn those. Chase's 524 rule, that's golden. That's a really good rule. If I was going to stop churning, I mean, you have to applaud these people for coming up with such a perfect rule. A normal person, doesn't apply for 5 accounts in 2 years. And if you do, they're not the type of customer they want. So it's a really good rule, I think. It'll be interesting to see, how that goes in the next couple months. Miles from Matt says, I've heard a lot of different recent shutdowns with banks. In your opinion, what are the best ways to avoid getting your credit card's account shut down? Not sure exactly what we're talking about with the shutdowns with banks. I guess you're meaning Citi's accounts, Citi account shutdowns. If that's what you're talking about, I'm not too sure. I don't use my cards. I get my minimum spend through manufacturer spending. I don't use the cards. I put them in a sock drawer, and my accounts were untouched. And I have 4 Citi American Airlines cards in my open account. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it was random or if it's if a lot of these people something in the application triggered a fraud alert. Maybe so, because I just don't see it being something that was widespread. I didn't hear too many reports about it. I mean, I know there were some, and it just didn't seem like it was anything that attacked people who've had accounts open for a long time. And I said, if people are going to get shut down for churning or whatever else, I am a prime example of that. I think that's, I'd be one of the first people to go because I have 5 American Airlines accounts. I've applied for so many Citi cards in the last little bit, and my accounts were untouched with them. So I don't, it's not a non-issue. It's certainly an issue. It's certainly something to keep track on. We just have to hope Kurt's right. And, he said they've reopened up. It was something in the application that triggered a fraud alert. It's very possible as well. So don't want to say it's a non-issue. It's something to follow, but nothing to be too concerned about for sure moving forward. Okay, I'm running out of things to talk about. I still have, David, I got your question about SPG. I'm holding out because I do want to talk about SPG in the Marriott merger, Marriott or anything, whatever the question is, or the group is. So if you guys have a question, saw Brooks right there. What you want to do is you want to type /Q and then type in your question in the chat. And if you type your question into the chat and you type /Q space, you type in your question, it populates on a list over here. I can see all the questions and I can kind of cycle through those questions because it's kind of hard for me to follow the chat. And then if I'm not talking about that particular topic at the right time, nope, not Q/. You're close. You're close, Chris, but not quite there. Not quite there. It's /Q. And actually, it's not even that. You have the wrong / again. I think you did that in my dry run. You put the wrong / in there. It is the backward / next to, or the forward / next to the question mark. There we go. So yeah, you can bring up anything you have, any kind of questions that you have, and I can cycle through those questions. It'll help me out, gives me some conversation. If anybody wants to jump in on the conversation, feel free. You can click the call now button over here. Your webcam will pop up. I think you can do audio only, or maybe I can accept audio only if you want. You can just type it in. It's like, hey, I want to do audio only, and we can create like a little, actual meeting here. So let's jump into. Well, before I do, we have Tim ask a question about Citi. Let me bring that question up. How do you pay off your Citi cards that here paying with many different accounts could trigger Citi shutdowns? I don't know. And I don't know what is triggering the Citi shutdowns. I don't know. I don't think there's been a whole lot of research on it just because it's been, it hasn't been really widespread. I mean, of course, it has been to some extent. I pay off my Citi cards just from my checking account because everything that I do goes to my checking account or Serve. I do Serve cards, but now kind of getting into a little bit of what Chris is saying with Serve. My accounts have all been shut down. So now I'm trying to go through my family to get them to sign up through Serve because I do like it. It's just so freaking easy. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Moving forward. And then, so what exactly is triggering it? That's the main thing. I don't know if it's many different accounts or not. So I usually pay out from 2 different accounts, and I have 5 of the same account. I haven't been shut down yet, so I'm not too concerned about it. We'll see. We're moving from there. So I'm going to change the topic here. We're going to start talking about Starwood. I don't know what I call it. It's not really a merger. I call it a Starwood buyout. I think that's pretty fair. Starwood buyout. And like I said, everybody's asked a question. Do you have your questions over here, and I will get to them. I just like to keep on topic, and then I'll jump onto those questions from time to time. So we'll jump on the Starwood topic real quick. It's 11:45 already. 11:43. See, it's amazing. So I said I could talk about this stuff all day, and I may go beyond the hour if you guys want to stick around. I'll probably cut off the recording, but I can stick around. I don't really got a whole lot going on until 1 o'clock, so I'm in no rush. Starwood buyout. This is very interesting news, especially if you're somebody who's been around a little bit and you have some Starwood points added up. It's going to be interesting to follow to see where everything goes. I'm not worried about it by any stretch of the imagination. It is what it is. Companies get bought out all the time. Of course, not to this scale, and especially not an industry that we're in. Typically, it's kind of rare. I mean, there was the U.S. Airways. I think U.S. Airways bought American Airlines. Is that how it went? Somebody can touch on that if they want. I believe American Airlines. I think U.S. Airways bought American Airlines. Is how it went. You might want to check in on it. I believe U.S. Airways bought American Airlines, but they liked the American Airlines name, so they kept the American Airlines name, even though U.S. Airways bought them. If somebody wants to wiki that for me, I believe that's how it went. A lot of people think American Airlines bought U.S. Airways because it's now called American Airlines, but I believe it's the other way around. I believe U.S. Airways bought. I believe American Airlines bought. Or U.S. Airways bought American Airlines, but just kept the AA name because it was a little bit more popular. But either way you look at that, it's kind of like the last big news of a buyout. And now we're looking at Starwood and their future. I think the one thing for sure is that Starwood is going to be bought out by somebody. So whether it's by Marriott or this other group, whatever the hell they're called, Anagang or whatever. Anagang. There's some insurance company from China. They do have properties, and they've got like a handful of luxury properties in New York City, San Francisco, a couple other places. It's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. In the original, when somebody said originally that the Chinese group was offering another couple $1 billion, and my original post was I was like really shocked that Starwood, like that same day that it was made public that this group was talking about it, that they were like, no, Marriott's a better deal. I was kind of shocked by that. It's going to be interesting to see. I think that in the end, money talks, especially when you're talking about that kind of money. You're not talking about a few dollars. You're talking about $2 billion. I mean, that's like a 20%, almost 20%, maybe 15% increase in price from what Marriott's offering. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. My personal opinion is I'm kind of with what's his name in the chat originally, or on Reddit, PHYISX, whatever. I'm kind of with his opinion. I think that the Chinese group buys it out, they're less likely to change a lot of the SPG program, unless the SPG program is actually highly unprofitable, which I doubt it is. I don't see the problems with Starwood being the Starwood program. I think Starwood's problems are probably more management driven. They have a lot of properties in interesting places. They don't have, I don't know, I don't feel like their portfolio is quite as diverse as when you look at Marriott is really good. Like Marriott's so good. They have so many, like Courtyard by Marriott is one of the best low tier properties, or mid tier. I don't know if it's mid tier, probably low tier. It's like one of the best low tier properties, anywhere. Every city has one. They're beautiful properties. They're great to stay at. They're affordable. And they're very business driven. Starwood doesn't really have that. They have the Westons, which that's kind of like the Hyatts. I take it. Sheridan's, I don't know. Sheridan doesn't. I'd stay at a Courtyard before I'd stay at a Sheridan, at least in most cases. They try. It's like a Sheridan's like kind of like a cross between a low. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of room for them to improve on. But it's going to be interesting to see. I think if the Chinese group buys out, since they don't have an actual chain, like I said, they're more likely to keep up with everything that's going on right now. So I promised David I'd get to his question. He asked us, I don't know, probably like an hour ago. What do you think about the developments and how it's going to impact? It's basically exactly what I said. I look for Marriott to change the SPG program, just because Marriott, my feel is they're very business driven. I have an uncle who he's retired now, but he worked for a large printing press company. He was in a different country every single week. So, I mean, he'd spend a lot of time in Mexico, a lot of time in Canada, but he'd go to Japan, Italy, you name it, he was there. His business, they had no loyalty to any airlines, which was surprising. So they flipped between a lot, although he's like, I don't know, he's got like 2 million miles under his belt, something like that's ridiculous. But they are loyal to Marriott, because Marriott has they're more business driven. And I think being that business driven, if you look at like even airline miles and kind of where they're going with airline miles, it's a lot like that. There's some airlines that they focus on, we're going to give you miles based on how much you spend with us. And then there's others who, the distance traveled type thing. I think that's a lot of what would happen if Marriott bought out. Instead of being like, Starwood, where I feel like there's just, it's more customer friendly. I feel like with a purchase of Marriott, they're going to be more about how much you spend with us is how much bonuses you get, type more business driven. So I think that, I think the Chinese group would be the best bet. I don't know. I don't work in the hotel industry. I don't know anything about it. It's going to be interesting to see. I'll certainly follow all the developments. I have a lot of Starwood points. When I say I have a lot, I think I have a lot. And then I talk to some other people and it's like, I have nothing. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Don't I have yeah, I do. I have about 100, I want to say like 180 now. So we'll see where all that goes. I don't know. I have a good bit, but I mean, if you really think about it, even like 180, it's only like 10 nights and nice properties. It's not really like that much. I've been saving up since I started churning. I've been saving these Starwood points because I want to really go somewhere nice, and especially for my honeymoon. I got my honeymoon in September. We're going to Italy. Got that all booked up, and I want to go to stay at the Westin Excelsior. So I know I've got the room for that. So that's pretty sweet. Pretty excited. I was excited to see that property did not go up in prices. Let's see here. What else do I have? I got a bunch of questions now. I started off with no questions, and now I have a whole bunch of questions. Jump on to David. I think I just answered Dave's question, but I got another one here for him, and it's on topic, so I'm going to go ahead and jump to his right now. For some reason, the show more isn't working. I can't see what he's saying here. Another SPG question. Do you think getting a Marriott card and hinge your bet if Marriott does ultimately get SPG? I kind of see what you're saying there. Oh, that's a great question. So I think what he's basically asking here is, do you get the Marriott card, especially with Chase's 524 rule? There's a lot of choices. You're kind of limiting yourself on Chase. Do you go with the Marriott card in hopes that they're going to buy SPG? I wouldn't say that. If you're looking to kind of maximize what you have with SPG, I would not get the Marriott card based solely on that. If Marriott is, a card that you're going to be considering getting anyways, yeah, why not? It's not a bad deal. It's something to consider. But no, I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't get a Marriott card just in hopes that maybe they buy SPG and I have some sweet places to use it at. I don't think. I really like Starwood properties. That's the thing. So, I mean, if you really like Starwood properties, maybe, why not? You're not really out anything. Even if they don't end up winning it, you still have 80,000 Marriott points you can use. So I don't buy it just for that purpose, but it's certainly something to consider. I guess, you're really not losing anything. The only thing, I don't know what Marriott offers for an anniversary bonus, or do they offer anything? If somebody can help me out and type that. I'm not sure. One free night cat through 4. So yes, to answer your question, sign up for the Marriott card. There's no reason not to. If you're going to get your anniversary night anyways, it's you have the Chase, Hyatt, the IHG, the Marriott, the CSP. Those 4 cards are the 4 cards you want to have in your account right now before these new rules take place. So yeah, why not? I don't think that's a bad look. Might as well go for it. And Rob says it's hard to find a category 1 through 4 actually worth staying at. That's a good point as well. I'm sure it's not quite like Hyatt, where you have much more choices. So I think what I'll do for the last 10 minutes here before I end the show is I'm just going to do a open-ended ask me anything type. Any questions you guys have, anything you want to talk about, we'll go ahead and bring those up now. So I'm just going to do a open discussion. Let's change the topic, and you guys can follow the topic up here. If anybody who's new who hasn't been here, you can type /Q space. So it's like this / next to your question, or on your question mark, /Q space, type in your question, and they all populate on a list for me. I can cycle through those and then answer some of those questions. So I'm going to try to go down in order from the order they were asked. We'll go from there. Chris says, are there any guesses on the strategy for us who are still willing to still have serve? Man, that's a great question too. I don't know. Because here's the way I'm looking at this, is that when they're doing these shutdowns, it's not like they run this computer program, it lists all these accounts, and they shut them down that day. I doubt it. Because what if they run this program or whatever they have, this formula, and everybody's, like 90% of their customers are on this list? Obviously, there has to be some internal discussion from a head up level that says, okay, let's go ahead with this, or let's not go ahead with this. So if they're going to do these shutdowns every 2 months, let's say, because they did one like early January, and then they were on early March or end of February. if they do this every 2 months, you have to figure when are they actually picking the number of accounts they're actually going to close. That probably happens at least 1 to 2 weeks before they shut down the account, which doesn't really give you a whole lot of time if you're churning, if you're manufacturer spending with the serve card, because you only get like a month and a half or so. And then exactly what are they going to do with what are they going to do with those accounts, and how does that work? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know if shutting down every single month is a good strategy. I've considered it, shutting down the serve account every month and reopening a couple days later. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I don't know. All I know is you can't just go balls to the wall like we have in the past. The accounts aren't going to stay open. It's just that simple. They're not going to stay open. So there does have to be a little bit more strategy with that. What that strategy is, I don't know. I haven't really seen too much discussion on it yet either, probably because most accounts are shut down. But what I've done is I've just gone to my family now, and I've got I've got another serve account through there. I don't manufacture spend much. And I think most of the stuff I'm going to start doing is going to be through money orders. I don't like money orders, but whatever. I was talking to another guy, I'm not going to name his name, who does manufacturer spending. He's doing just an outrageous amount of manufacturer spending. And he's actually opened up a business, and any profits that he's making goes under the business name. He files taxes, does everything else. He puts a boatload of money into his checking accounts with money orders and hasn't had a problem. Now they're business checking accounts, but he hasn't had any problems. So that's, I don't know. Serve might just be dead. It's getting tougher with Serve. Not sure exactly what's going to happen with that. If anybody wants to jump in to the chat, you can click the call in now button. It'll bring up your webcam or just a microphone. You do have to have a headset though. That's the one thing that you don't want any of this feedback. So headphones are nice. Green Lotus Foods, probably basic for most, but can I only churn on Serve with my FIA Amex? I just got SPG card and found out it won't qualify for minimum spend. The way that most people do it, when you're talking about the Serve card, most people are going to go out and you're going to buy Visa gift cards. You can do that at Rite Aids. You can do that at most grocery stores, anything, a lot of these places you see here. So if you sign up for the Serve card, you go buy some Visa gift cards. They come with a $5 fee. So if you're going to do $500, you're going to end up spending $505 to $507, depending on what that fee is. All right, Dave, take it easy. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you around. So you're going to apply for those cards, and then you apply for the Serve card, you buy your Visa gift cards, and you got to put the Visa gift cards on the Serve. You can do that either at Rite Aid. Rite Aid will allow you to load up your Serve card with a Visa gift card, or you can do that at Walmart if it's a certain type of Visa gift card. It can't be a vanilla Visa gift card. There's a whole list of manufacturer spending techniques using Serve on the sidebar on Reddit, so I definitely recommend following that. But when it comes to loading directly with an American Express card, I believe you can. It counts toward a minimum spend, but you don't get points for your purchases or something like that. I don't really know. I haven't really done it too much. I just do all my stuff through Visa gift cards. So ask the question on Moronic Monday, or probably the best place for something like that. Should be getting a. Okay, I see you're trying to ask a question. Buying gift cards with the SPG Amex doesn't count toward a minimum spend. No, it does. I mean, anything. At least I believe. I mean, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. It codes if you buy a gift card with any card, an SPG or whatever, whatever it is. If you're buying gift cards, it's gonna code as the place you're buying it at. So if you buy a $500 gift card from, let's say, Kroger, or I don't know what you guys have on the West Coast, like Speedway or whatever, Safeway, you guys have them. Wherever you buy those cards, it's going to code as a purchase from that place. So if I buy it at Johnny Gold, Kroger, whatever, that $500 is going to come to my credit card company like I bought it from Kroger. So it doesn't populate as a gift card. It's nothing like that you got to worry about. They code as the place you're buying them from, almost always. Go ahead and close that question out. Let's see here. Next question. I'm on a Surface Pro. I got this thing from a conference I was at. It's pretty nice. I just closed out somebody's question. The question was, I believe it was new to Cali. He posted a question, said, do I manufacture spend it all? If you can ask that question again, Callie, I'll answer it right away. I closed. I think I clicked the X. It took a while, and I just kept clicking in, and I closed out like 3 questions or 2 questions there. So if you want to post your question about manufacturer spending, and then I can go ahead and answer it. I'll go ahead and bring up Neil's question here. It's the who are you guy. There he is. Churning from outside the U.S. I use PayPal to meet minimum spending, pay my friends rent. Do you suggest any precautions to avoid? For some reason on this blab, the show more button is not working. I'm assuming you're asking a question, do you suggest any precautions to avoid shutdowns, from these? So I'm a little bit, it'd be interesting to see kind of what you're exactly asking here. You're outside the U.S., but I'm assuming you have a U.S. address or a U.S. What's it called? Nationality? What not nationality? My God, I'm struggling right now. You're obviously you're getting U.S. cards. I'm assuming. You use PayPal to mean spend on American Express, pay my friends rent. Is there any precautions? Visa. That's what I was looking for. Man, I don't know. I don't think you probably will not have too much problem. I mean, that's what PayPal is for, right? PayPal is for paying bills and doing things like that. You're not doing anything. You're not doing anything really like questionable. I don't think PayPal. When you start talking about like mass quantities of money, $5,000-$10,000 a month, that's when PayPal's. Right. I think that's when PayPal is more likely going to shut you down. If you're just doing single payments to somebody, that's what the PayPal system is based on. And I feel like if you were shut down, you'd have a hell of a reason to fight it. You're just using it as it was made, as intended to be used. I wouldn't suggest, like I said, the PayPal My Cash, or you're loading up and you're putting money back in your own account. That's, like Miles said, that's where you're more likely to get shut down at, is if you're loading your account up with $10,000 or $5,000 in PayPal My Cash cards and getting your balance up, and then taking that money and dropping it back into your own checking account. I think that's where you get most of your shutouts. If you're just paying people, that's the purpose of PayPal. They love you. They want you as a customer because you're giving them all kind of money. So there's no real reason they would ever shut you down for that. So I don't think you're gonna have too much of a problem with that. I think I already said hello to Dan there. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead, type /Q in the chat, /Q space, then you can go ahead and ask your questions, and they populate on my sidebar here, and I can answer them. I have time for a couple more, and I'm going to close out of it. I'm going to at least stop the recording, and then I'll go ahead and just hang around if you guys actually want me to. What do you do with the existing AA Platinum cards while utilizing the AA loophole? Do you still wait for the 8 to 12 months to close them out? No, I don't. I don't wait because I number one, I don't know how many Citi cards you can have in your account at one time. Number two, the last I've heard from Flyer Talk was that when you close an account out with Citi, it takes a couple months for your credit utilization to, kind of your available credit with them to refresh. So no, I haven't been. That's my biggest fear with this loophole. My biggest fear is not that that I don't get a bonus. My biggest fear is that they look at my account and they see that I've had 6 accounts opened, and I closed them down a couple months later. And then they end up like blackballing me as a customer, which I haven't really heard. I know when I first got into churning, I heard that term a lot, the whole blackball with American Express, and Chase, I think, was another one, because people had UR points, and they were manufacturers spending with Target or whatever. They had 300,000 UR points, 500,000 UR points, and then Chase would just shut down their account and take all the points away from them, and then would not give them cards for the future. So I think that there is a possibility of it happening. I don't know. Citi is so screwed up. I'm not too worried about it. I do close mine out. I keep a couple open just because I do not want to. Anyway, there we go. I don't want to, close them out right away, but at the same time, I don't want to have 6 American Airlines accounts open at once. So I do close them out. I just wait, a few months at least, and kind of go from there. Chris, so you don't just close them out; you close them out shortly after points. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you gotta wait for points post. That'd be like the most dumb thing you possibly do. No, you gotta wait for points post. You give it wait till your points post. Mine always post in the first month. Through manufacturer spending, I'm able to get my 3,000. After the points post, I'll keep that account open for another 2 months or so, and then close it out from there. So that's kind of how I work. And like I said, I try to keep like 3 open at any one time. I figure if I have to call retention or something on a card, it's not really going to matter because I have way too many cards open, so it doesn't. They're gonna deny me anyway. Look at it. And we got Deep here says, surf shutdown money orders will be next for a lot of people. Is there a list of banks to deposit money orders without issues? Yes, there are. Flyer Talk, as new to Cali has said, Flyer Talk has a list. They also have a list of people or banks that allow mobile deposits with money orders. I think, at least to the best of my knowledge, that money orders are fine with banks. If you're dealing with like a business checking account, or as long as you're going in there and depositing it, they have more of a problem with personal checking accounts. I've seen those get shut down, and a lot of people don't like them over the phones when you're taking a picture of it and you're submitting everything through there. So I think that's more where your problems run into. But no, Flyer Talk does have a list of both of those. If you type in something along the lines of, money order bank accounts, Flyer Talk on Google, you're going to find that list. But no, there is a list, and I think money orders are going to be the move for a lot of people, and that's going to be interesting to see how the banks react to it. We already know that churning. It's a funny thing, because if you tell people that you're doing it, you tell friends, you tell family that you're doing it, people at work, whatever, nobody knows about it. They're thinking that you're like this all creative guy, like, oh my God, I can't believe you came up with this awesome idea. And you're like, yeah, it was all me. I completely thought to conjure this shit up all on my own. That's obviously not the case. But we're big enough to the point to where I think we do have an impact on what banks do. Obviously, we figured it out with a lot of these new rules coming into place, everything else. So when everybody shifts to money orders, it will be interesting to see how the banks react to it, and kind of what goes on with that. So it'll be interesting to follow for sure. Our next, I don't know, especially when the server accounts start getting numbered down even more. Okay, I'll go ahead and answer your last question too. So money order deposit via mobile equals bad? No, I don't think it equals bad. Don't get me wrong. My bank account is through Simple. Simple, they're like a small Oregon bank or Washington, something like that. It's all online. There are no actual, branches anywhere. Yeah, it's like they do not like money orders via mobile. Okay, they'll allow it. But if you do it like 3 times a month, 4 times a month, they automatically start red flagging it. So you have to find a bank that's a little bit more open to it, which there are some banks out there that are open to it. I haven't really spent any, too much of my time looking it up, but I do know they exist. They're definitely out there. So, okay. I think that's going to wrap up the show. Like I said, I will stick around. I'm going to go make another cup of coffee. I will stick around with you guys and just talk, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording at least. I don't know what you guys think of it. If you think this is something you guys could do every week, I maintain 30-some people, so not too bad. 186 people total in here. I could talk about points forever. I don't get tired of it. I think we did pretty good for an hour and 10 minutes, though. We covered a lot. I don't know if I think we, pretty good. Every other week would be good. I think we covered a good bit with the city and Starwood and everything else. Yeah, I mean, it might get repetitive if I was doing this every week, but even if I theme, every week, maybe, toward, maybe 1 week is toward, kind of discussing like this last week in churning. The next week could kind of be more geared toward, I don't know, just kind of like break it down into topics. Maybe do, the recap. I don't know. I think I could do it. I think I could do it every week. We'll figure it out. We'll see what people like on it and kind of go from there. But I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. So let me go ahead and do that. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And if you are watching, if you're here and you watch the recording, be sure to follow on Reddit, reddit.com/r/churning. I'm assuming that's how every single person in here is watching it. But if you're not, make sure you go there and follow up for any updates.